The vast silence of space was broken by a sudden pulse. It was faint at first, like a whisper across the void, but quickly, scientists aboard the orbital station Centauri 7 realized its significance. This was no natural phenomenon. Its rhythm was too precise, too intelligent. "Something is watching us," murmured Dr. Lena Corwin, her voice trembling with both fear and excitement. Humanity had spread far beyond Earth. Colonies orbited distant stars, and fleets of exploratory ships drifted between solar systems. Every new discovery filled humans with pride, but also with subtle fear. Space was vast, and there were things humans did not yet understand. On board the survey vessel Artemis, Captain Rian Hale observed the energy readings with growing concern. "We're not alone," he said, gripping the edge of the navigation console. "This pulse is like a beacon. Someone or something is trying to communicate." Back on Earth, leaders convened in the Global Space Council. Holographic maps displayed the pulse's trajectory, showing it emanating from the farthest edge of known human space. Some advisors argued for caution. "We don't know their intentions," warned Admiral Voss. "It could be a trap. Retreat and prepare defenses." Others, like Dr. Corwin, disagreed. "This is an opportunity to understand the galaxy. Ignoring it will not make it disappear." Meanwhile, the humans aboard Artemis and other exploratory ships were unaware that they were being observed. Far beyond human sensors, alien scouts moved silently. Their ships were sleek, almost organic in design, capable of vanishing into the darkness of space. To humans, they were faint shadows on long-range scans, but to the aliens, every human movement was noted. The tension grew as the pulse repeated. Each sequence became more complex, almost like a language waiting to be understood. Captain Hale ordered a closer approach to the source, despite the warnings from Earth. "We cannot run from knowledge," he said. "We have to see who or what is out there." On board Artemis, crew members whispered nervously. Lieutenant Marichin stared at the radar, noting the faint signatures of approaching alien ships. "Captain, they're close. Much closer than we expected." Hale's jaw tightened. "Prepare shields and alert the fleet. But maintain course. We need answers." As the Artemis advanced, a distant colony reported strange disturbances. Communications flickered, and several satellites vanished from orbit without explanation. Panic began to ripple through human settlements. The pulse was no longer just a curiosity. It was a warning. Scientists tried to decode the signal. Each pattern seemed intelligent, yet its purpose was elusive. Dr. Corwin hypothesized it was a message. Perhaps they are testing us or preparing us. Either way, we must understand it before it's too late. Humanity debated what to do next. Some ships began evacuating outer colonies, while others readied their weapons. Every decision carried immense risk. If the aliens were hostile, a misstep could trigger the destruction of entire human settlements. If they were peaceful, misjudgment could close the door to the greatest discovery in history. Amid the growing tension, a sudden alarm shattered the relative calm aboard the Artemis. Sensors picked up a fast-moving object approaching at impossible speed. It was a human ship, but badly damaged, drifting toward the exploration fleet. Its communications were scrambled, but a single message broke through. Humanity would decide the fate of the galaxy. The words echoed through every ship and station. Silence followed. What did it mean? Were the aliens giving a warning or a prophecy? Every human felt a chill. This was no ordinary conflict. Something much larger was at play. The pulse continued, now joined by the faint shadow of the alien fleet. Humans realized that their presence in space was being monitored and measured. Every move mattered. Every decision carried weight beyond imagination. Captain Hale knew the stakes. "We are no longer just explorers," he said grimly. "We are participants in a game we barely understand." On Earth, the Council debated in emergency sessions. Economists, scientists, and military leaders all contributed, but no consensus emerged. Some urged immediate defense buildup. Others argued for cautious engagement. The unknown was terrifying, but curiosity burned stronger than fear in many hearts. Meanwhile, crews across human space prepared for the worst. Dr. Corwin worked tirelessly to decode the signal. Each new discovery raised more questions and answers. It seemed almost alive, reacting to human analysis as if aware of every calculation. The first human casualty came without warning. A research vessel near the pulse's origin vanished, leaving only debris. No distress call, no survivors. The fleet trembled in fear. If this was the aliens' way of sending a message, it was clear humanity had been noticed and every action would be judged. Yet in the midst of fear, determination grew. Humans had always been explorers. They faced impossible odds on distant planets and harsh environments. They had survived plagues, wars, and natural disasters. Now, facing a mysterious presence at the edge of the galaxy, that same courage surged. Captain Hale addressed his crew. We do not yet know what waits for us, but we will not turn back in fear. Humanity will face the unknown, and we will learn what it wants. Our choices matter more than ever. As the pulse continued to echo through space, humans sensed a presence beyond comprehension. The alien scouts, invisible and silent, waited. Every scan, every movement, was being observed. Humanity had stepped into the first chapter of a galactic drama far greater than any war they had known. The final moment of Part 1 came as the pulse intensified. Lights flickered aboard ships, and instruments went wild. Then, with terrifying clarity, the same message repeated across every communication channel. Humanity will decide the fate of the galaxy. The words left a heavy silence in their wake. The mystery was no longer distant. It was immediate. The galaxy had noticed humanity, and the first move had already been made. Humans stared into the dark, feeling both awe and fear. Somewhere out there, the Watchers waited, and for the first time, humanity understood that space was not empty and that their survival would depend on choices they had yet to make. The message echoed through every human ship and colony. Humanity would decide the fate of the galaxy. The weight of those words pressed heavily on every mind. Across human space, fear and determination mixed in equal measure. What had begun as a mysterious pulse had now become a clear warning, or perhaps a challenge. Captain Rian Hale stood on the bridge of the Artemis, staring into the endless black. The stars seemed dimmer now, as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. "We are not alone," he said, his voice low, "and we are not safe. Prepare the fleet. We do not yet know what we face, but we will be ready." The alien scouts remained unseen, but their presence was undeniable. Long-range sensors detected anomalies, shadows that moved faster than light should allow, energy fluctuations that bent physics itself. Lieutenant Marachin monitored the readings with growing unease. "Captain, it's as if they are everywhere at once. We can't track them fully. It's terrifying." Dr. Lena Corwin, aboard the research vessel Nova Horizon, worked tirelessly to decode the pulse. Her team theorized that it was more than a message. It was a map, a guide to something powerful. "It's like they're testing us," she said, pointing at a holographic pattern. "Each sequence is a riddle. Whoever solves it proves they are ready." Back on Earth, the Council faced a critical debate. Military leaders demanded immediate action. Scientists urged caution. Politicians feared panic among the populace. In the end, the decision was made to send a joint exploratory and defensive fleet to the pulse's origin, a journey that would take months even at maximum warp speed. As humans prepared, the alien scouts made the first real move. In the outer colonies, communication blackout, zones appeared without warning. Entire settlements went dark. Ships traveling through the sectors reported strange readings, gravitational distortions, sudden bursts of energy, and fleeting glimpses of shapes moving too fast to identify. On board the Artemis, Captain Hale felt the tension rise. "They are testing our response," he said. "Every action we take is being measured. We need to stay calm, stay smart, and above all, stay alive." The crew worked in unison. Engineers reinforced shields, navigators recalculated flight paths, and soldiers prepared weapon systems for anything that might emerge. Despite the fear, there was a spark of hope. Humanity had survived countless threats before. This was different, yes, but humans had never backed down from the unknown. Dr. Corwin's team finally uncovered a breakthrough. The pulse sequences aligned with distant star systems, marking points of interest. "It's a guide," she explained to the council via secure hologram. "It leads to something important, perhaps the key to understanding these Watchers." Captain Hale decided to follow the map. The Artemis and a fleet of human ships set course for the first mark system. Fully aware that danger awaited, every officer felt the same uneasy mix of excitement and dread. They were explorers at heart, but they were also warriors now. As the fleet moved closer to the mark systems, the alien presence became more tangible. Scout ships appeared intermittently, always vanishing before humans could engage. It was clear they were observing, learning, and possibly preparing. One night, as Hale stared at the starlit void from the observation deck, Marachin approached him. "Do you ever think we're being manipulated?" she asked quietly. "Maybe they want to see us make mistakes." Hale's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps. But if that's the case, we will have to be smarter than them. We cannot let fear dictate our actions." Suddenly, the fleet experienced a massive energy surge. Systems went offline for seconds that felt like hours. When the lights returned, one ship was missing. Not destroyed, simply vanished. Panic spread, but Hale's voice cut through the fear. "Stay focused. We cannot afford chaos." This is exactly what they want us to feel. The vanished ship left behind a faint trail in the quantum sensors, a signature that seemed deliberate. Dr. Corwin analyzed it immediately. "It's a message," she said. "Or a warning. They are showing us that they can reach us anywhere." Humanity's resolve hardened. Colonies sent messages of solidarity. Engineers and scientists redoubled efforts to understand alien technology and the Pulse's secrets. Soldiers trained. Fleets moved strategically, and every human understood that the galaxy had shifted overnight. Meanwhile, the alien Watchers observed silently. To them, humanity's response was intriguing. They had been expecting fear, confusion, maybe even retreat. Instead, humans adapted quickly, thinking, learning, and preparing. Perhaps this species was ready for the next step. Weeks passed, and the fleet approached the first mark system. Strange structures appeared in orbit around an uninhabited planet. Massive constructs that pulsed with the same energy as the original signal. The structures were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Neither ships nor buildings, but something in between. Captain Hale addressed the fleet. "This is it. This is what the pulse was leading us to. Be vigilant. Expect the unexpected. And remember, humanity's choices will shape the galaxy's future." The fleet entered orbit cautiously. The structures responded, opening slowly as if acknowledging human presence. On board the Artemis, Dr. Corwin's team decoded a fragment of the pulse directly from the structures. It was a message, simple yet profound. "You have arrived. Now decide." Every human aboard every ship felt the weight of those words. Decisions made here would echo across the stars. The Watchers, mysterious and powerful, had set the stage. Humanity was no longer alone. It was now part of a story far larger than any individual, any planet, any fleet. And in the darkness beyond the system, the alien scouts watched, silent, calculating, waiting. The first real choice had been presented, and the outcome could determine the fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The tension was unbearable. Every human felt it. The excitement, the fear, and the certainty that nothing would ever be the same. They had crossed the threshold into a galaxy where every action mattered. The pulse continued to resonate, now stronger than ever. The first real chapter of humanity's encounter with the unknown was ending, but the story had only just begun. Decisions had to be made, alliances tested, and courage proven. And somewhere in the void, the Watchers prepared to see what humans would do next. The fleet hovered in orbit around the strange structures. The planet below was barren, yet its skies shimmered with the same energy as the pulse that had first brought humanity here. Captain Rian Hale stood on the bridge of the Artemis, watching the alien constructs carefully. Each one glowed faintly, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. Dr. Lena Corwin's team had deciphered more of the pulse. It was no longer just a message. It was a challenge. "You have arrived. Now decide." The signal read. But what were they asking? Alliance? War? Survival? Humanity did not yet know. "This is unlike anything we faced before. Lieutenant Marachin admitted. These structures, they're watching us as much as we're watching them. Hale nodded. They are testing us. Everything we do is being observed. We must act carefully. One wrong move, and we might lose everything. While the humans debated their next steps, the alien scouts grew bolder. Shadows flicker across space, disappearing whenever sensors try to lock onto them. Their movements were precise, almost intelligent, as if measuring humanity's courage, intelligence, and resolve. The first decision came from an unexpected direction. A small fleet of ships from the outer colonies approached the system. They had been following the pulse on their own, hoping to make contact first. Captain Hale quickly communicated with them. You are not alone. Join us. This is bigger than any single fleet. The outer fleet hesitated. Many had feared the pulse as a trap, but the structures themselves seemed to beckon. Finally, their commander responded, We will join you, but cautiously, one step at a time. Humanity was united in a way it had never been before. Earth, the colonies, and exploratory fleets had come together, bound by curiosity, fear, and determination. The pulse had forced them into cooperation. Meanwhile, the alien constructs began to react. Lights shimmered across their surfaces, casting eerie reflections into space. The structures seemed to rearrange themselves slightly, as if acknowledging human presence. Every scientist aboard the Artemis felt a mix of wonder and dread. Captain, Dr. Corwin said urgently, the pulse is evolving. It's adapting to our actions. The more we try to understand, the more it changes. It's alive, or at least it behaves as if it is. Hale's eyes narrowed. Alive or not, we have to make a choice. Do we approach the structures? Do we try to communicate directly? Or do we wait and risk being judged as indecisive? The council aboard the Artemis debated fiercely. Some officers wanted caution, fearing the structures might trigger a destructive response. Others argued for direct engagement, reasoning that hesitation could be fatal. Finally, Hale made the call. We will send a small exploratory team to the planet's surface, he said. Sensors first, humans second. We need answers, and we need them now. The landing team consisted of Dr. Corwin, Lieutenant Chun, and a small group of engineers and soldiers. Their shuttle descended through the planet's thin, shimmering atmosphere. As they approached the surface, the alien constructs revealed more of their purpose. Energy beams connected the structures in a complex lattice, forming a web of glowing light across the barren plains. This is incredible, Dr. Corwin whispered. It's a network, a system, perhaps even a machine, but far beyond anything we've ever seen. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The construct shifted subtly, and a low hum filled the air. The pulse had reached its peak. The team realized that the structures were not just passive. They were alive, or at least reactive. Every step they took was being noted, measured, and understood. Lieutenant Chin scanned the area with her device. They're testing our intentions. Every action we take, it's being observed and recorded. A holographic projection suddenly appeared above the largest structure. It was faint, shimmering, and almost humanoid, but clearly alien. Its form was made of light, moving with grace and purpose. A voice filled the minds of the landing team. Humans, your choices will shape more than your own destiny. Do you seek war, peace, or understanding? The team froze. They had expected a challenge. But this was beyond anything they had imagined. It was no longer just a warning. It was a direct question, and the answer they gave could echo across the galaxy. Dr. Corwin stepped forward, her voice steady. We seek understanding. We do not wish to destroy, but we will defend ourselves. We come in curiosity and in caution. We wish to learn from you if you allow us. The alien projection pulsed in response. The lattice of structures shifted, sending waves of light into the sky. The pulse that had guided humanity here now expanded outward, almost like an embrace or a test of resolve. Back in orbit, Captain Hale monitored the landing. Sensors showed that the alien scouts had paused their movements. The mysterious ships lingered at the edges of detection, watching carefully, as if waiting for the outcome of humanity's choice. This is it, Hale said. This is the moment where humanity proves itself. Not with weapons, but with choices. Our fate, and perhaps the galaxy's, depends on what they decide we deserve. The landing team on the planet felt the tension like a living thing. Every heartbeat echoed in the empty plains. Every breath seemed amplified. The alien structures continued to pulse, rhythmically, as if counting, judging, waiting. And then a new message arrived, not through sensors or devices, but directly into the minds of the humans. Your courage is noted, your intent is clear. The next step would define all who dwell among the stars. A hush fell across the landing team. They had survived the Pulse's tests, answered its questions, and taken the first real step into a galaxy far larger than themselves. But they knew this was only the beginning. The Watchers were patient, vast, and intelligent. Humanity had made its first choice, but the consequences were yet to unfold. Captain Hale looked at the stars and whispered, "We've entered a new era. One decision at a time, we will shape the galaxy, or it will shape us." Above, the alien scouts resumed their silent observation, waiting for the humans to take the next step. Humanity's true challenge had only just begun. The Pulse had guided them to the edge. Now, the edge itself was alive, watching and waiting for the next choice. The alien structures on the barren planet pulsed with steady rhythm, as if marking time in a language humanity could not yet understand. On the surface, Dr. Lena Corwin and her team stood in awe, aware that every movement was observed. Every decision mattered. Humanity had made its first choice, to seek understanding, but the galaxy had yet to respond fully. Back in orbit, Captain Rian Hale monitored the horizon. The alien scouts that had lingered at the edge of detection began to move, not aggressively, yet their presence sent shivers through the fleet. They formed formations, testing the humans' defensive positions, and probing weak points in shields and sensors. "They're watching again," Lieutenant Marichin said. "And I don't think it's just observation this time. They're probing us." The tension escalated when one of the outer colony ships reported a sudden energy spike. Sensors detected an alien vessel, larger, unlike the scouts, emerging from behind a nearby asteroid field. Its form shimmered in bent light, making it appear almost invisible. Humans could only see it intermittently, but they could feel its intent. A warning, perhaps the first strike. Captain Hale made the decision instantly. Battle stations. Shields up. Do not engage unless fired upon. Let's see what they want. The alien vessel moved with grace, circling the human fleet without attacking. Then, without warning, it launched a pulse wave toward a small supply ship near the fleet's edge. The ship shuddered as its systems flickered, and a bright flash erupted across its hull. The humans managed to stabilize it, but the message was clear. Humanity was being tested under pressure. Dr. Corwin, analyzing the readings in real time, realized the aliens' attacks were not lethal. They were carefully calibrated. "They're measuring our response time, our coordination, and perhaps our restraint," she said. "Every move is a calculation." Captain Hale spoke to fleet. "This is more than a battle. It's a test. We must act as one, think as one. Panic will cost lives. Observation, careful observation, will keep us alive." The fleet responded with precision. Defensive shields synchronized. Fighter squads patrolled the perimeter, and the humans demonstrated coordination the alien scouts had not yet seen. Every maneuver was calculated. Every response was measured. Humanity was proving itself capable. On the planet, the landing team noticed changes in the alien structures. Light shifted across the lattice, forming patterns that seemed almost like communication. Dr. Corwin deciphered part of it. "Your restraint is noted. Your understanding incomplete. Prepare for choice by action." The warning left no room for doubt. The next test would be more direct. Humans could feel it in the vibrations of their ships, in the subtle shift of energy across the planet and fleet. The Watchers were preparing for escalation. Then, without warning, the alien vessel moved toward a human colony several million kilometers away. Communications cut off instantly. Sensors confirmed a sudden energy surge, followed by silence. Panic swept through the fleet. A single attack had reminded humans of their vulnerability. Hale made another critical decision. "We will not retreat. We will respond, but wisely. Form a defensive perimeter around the fleet and colonies. Show them humanity does not cower, but also does not act recklessly. Fighter pilots launch in formation, scanning the darkness for any sign of further aggression. The alien scouts move with incredible speed, always appearing at just the edge of detection before vanishing again. Their pattern was precise, almost choreographed. Humanity realized they were not fighting blindly. They were learning, adjusting, preparing for something larger. Meanwhile, Dr. Corwin uncovered a startling fact. The alien pulse network was not just a message. It was a command interface. Structures across the planet were connected in a way that could control energy fields across the star system. The aliens could manipulate gravity, shields, and even starship movement remotely. Humanity was in the presence of technology far beyond their comprehension. "We are outmatched," Dr. Corwin admitted. "If they choose to strike in full, we cannot survive with conventional weapons. But if they're testing us, there might be a way to communicate, to show intelligence and restraint instead of aggression." Hale realized she was right. We've been playing their game carefully. Now we need to make the first real gesture. Something to prove humanity is ready, not with weapons, but with strategy and understanding. The humans coordinated a maneuver. Ships moved in precise, non-threatening formations, lights and signals broadcasting intent rather than aggression. The pulse network on the planet responded subtly, the lattice structures flickering in recognition. The alien scouts paused, as if evaluating humanity's new approach. For hours, the tension remained unbearable. Every scan, every signal, every movement felt like a potential spark for conflict. Then, as night fell across the planet's barren surface, the pulse network flared brilliantly, sending waves of light into orbit. The alien vessel retreated, vanishing into the dark. A calm fell over the fleet, but it was not relief. Humans understood they had survived only the first real trial. The message was clear. The Watchers were patient, intelligent, and adaptive. Humanity had taken its first step in proving worth. But the galaxy's tests were only beginning. Captain Hale addressed the fleet. "Today we learned two things. First, we are vulnerable. Second, we are capable. We survived the first strike not with firepower, but with coordination, courage, and intelligence. The galaxy is watching. Our choices will decide what comes next." On the planet, Dr. Corwin transmitted her findings back to the fleet. Every piece of data could be crucial for understanding the alien technology and intentions. The pulse had not stopped. It had grown stronger, more complex. Humanity's journey had only just begun, and in the shadows beyond the star system, the alien scouts prepared for the next phase. Their calculations were precise. Humanity had passed the first test, but the real challenge, the one that would truly decide humanity's place in the galaxy, was approaching. The pulse network hummed, alive and calculating. The Watchers waited, patient and intelligent, and humanity, standing at the edge of the unknown, realized one unshakable truth. The next move could change everything. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. The first strike had come, and the first response had been measured. But the galaxy was vast, the Watchers eternal, and humanity's trial had only begun. Humanity's fleet drifted silently in the vast darkness above the barren planet. The pulse network had not stopped. It had grown stronger, its rhythm resonating through every ship, every system, as if the galaxy itself were alive. Captain Rhea and Hale knew this calm was temporary. The first strike had come and passed, but the Watchers were far from finished. Dr. Lena Corwin monitored the alien pulse with her team, decoding patterns faster than ever before. "It's learning from us," she said, her voice tense. "Every maneuver, every response, every hesitation. It's adapting. We have to stay ahead, or it will use our actions against us." Lieutenant Marichin stood at the sensor console, scanning the surrounding space. "Captain, scouts are forming again, and something larger is moving in from beyond the system. I can't identify it fully. It's enormous." Hale's jaw tightened. "Prepare all defenses. This isn't a drill. Humanity has survived surprises before, but nothing like this. We fight smart, we fight together, or we don't fight at all." Across human space, colonies trembled. Messages arrived from distant settlements reporting mysterious energy surges. sudden gravity shifts, and glimpses of massive alien ships moving faster than thought possible. Fear gripped the hearts of many, but it also fueled determination. Humanity was united, standing at the edge of the unknown, refusing to retreat. The alien scouts advanced in precise formations. Their movements were deliberate, calculated to test the fleet's coordination and response. Then the larger ship appeared, a vast, sleek vessel shimmering with energy, unlike any human design. Its presence sent shockwaves through sensors, bending light and space around it. Dr. Corwin's eyes widened. It's a flagship, and it's powerful beyond imagination. If they attack, we might lose ships before we can even react. Hale made his decision instantly. Engage defensive maneuvers. Maintain distance, but do not provoke. We need to survive this encounter and learn from it. The flagship fired a series of pulses, not directly at the fleet, but near it, forcing the humans to maneuver defensively. Ships adjusted shields, engines flared, and human pilots moved with flawless coordination. Every move was measured, every reaction precise. Humanity was proving its resilience. On the planet's surface, the landing team witnessed a breathtaking display. The alien structures pulsed in perfect rhythm with the flagship's energy. Waves of light stretched across the barren plains, forming patterns and shapes that hinted at intelligence beyond comprehension. Dr. Corwin's team analyzed the signals. "It's a test," she said. "They're not trying to destroy us yet. They want to see our limits, our capacity for organization, strategy, and understanding. If we succeed, we gain trust, or at least recognition." But the warning came fast. A small colony vessel reported it had been struck by a focused energy beam. Systems failed temporarily, and the crew barely managed to stabilize the ship. Panic surged, but Hale's voice cut to the fear. "Steady. This is exactly what they want to see: chaos. Humanity will not crumble." The fleet responded with precision. Coordinated formations and synchronized maneuvers allowed them to minimize damage while maintaining their position. Sensors fed data back to the Artemis, giving humans insight into alien technology, movement patterns, and energy signatures. Every moment was a lesson. Meanwhile, the alien scouts circled, observing closely. It was clear they were not acting impulsively. They were calculating, judging, and adapting to humanity's every choice. Dr. Corwin suddenly noticed something. "Captain, the pulse patterns, the structures, the flagship, even the scouts, they're all connected. It's a network spanning this entire system. If they coordinate fully, they could disable our entire fleet before we could react." Hale's face hardened. "Then we cannot fight blindly. Every ship, every crew member, must act with intention. Humanity will survive not by power, but by wisdom, courage, and coordination. This is our test." Hours passed with intense maneuvers, small skirmishes, and strategic displays. The flagship fired pulses intermittently, each more powerful than the last, yet the humans endured. Pilots adapted, engineers recalibrated shields, and scientists decoded patterns in real time. Humanity's unity was unmatched. Finally, a breakthrough came from the planet's surface. Dr. Corwin decoded a fragment of the pulse network that revealed a vulnerability in the alien system, a method to communicate intent rather than provoke. "Captain," she said urgently, "we can respond in kind. A gesture, not an attack. Show intelligence and restraint. And we might gain recognition rather than destruction." Hale made his choice. "Do it. Humanity will not strike blindly. We will answer with understanding, strategy, and courage." The fleet initiated a coordinated light and energy display, synchronized with the pulse patterns observed from the planet. The alien flagship paused. Scouts hovered, their movements slowing. The structures pulsed in recognition, acknowledging humanity's response. Silence fell. For a moment, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The first real engagement had ended, not in destruction, but in recognition. Humanity had survived the initial trials of the Watchers. But Hale and Corwin both knew this was only the beginning. The pulse network hummed across the system, stronger and more complex than ever. The Watchers had seen humanity's capacity for courage, strategy, and restraint. Yet the larger challenge remained. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns, and the true trial, the one that would decide the fate of humans and the Watchers alike, was still approaching. Captain Hale addressed the fleet one last time for the moment. We have endured the first test. We have proven that humanity can think, adapt, and survive. But remember this, we have only taken the first step. The galaxy is watching, and the choices we make next will define our place among the stars. And in the darkness beyond the system, the alien flagship and scouts vanished, retreating just enough to leave humans alive, but aware. The Watchers had not left. They were calculating, preparing, and waiting for the next move. The pulse continued, now almost like a heartbeat across the galaxy. Humanity had survived the edge of war, but the real conflict, the one that would test their courage, intelligence, and unity to the limit, was coming. The stars themselves seemed to whisper a warning. The next decision would not be simple. The next choice could determine whether humanity would rise among the stars, or be crushed beneath them. The stars beyond the barren planet shivered with tension. Humanity had survived the first test, proving strategy, restraint, and unity. Yet Captain Rhea and Hale knew the Watchers' patience had limits. Somewhere beyond detection, the alien fleet waited, calculating the humans' next move. The first real battle was coming, and this time there would be no warning. On board the Artemis, Hale reviewed fleet formations. "This is no longer reconnaissance or trial," he said. "They've seen our tactics. They know our strengths. Every step must be deliberate. We fight as one or we don't fight at all." Lieutenant Marachin checked the sensors. "Captain, scouts are converging faster than before, and the flagship is back. It's coordinating with the scouts. This isn't a test anymore. They're preparing for engagement." Dr. Lena Corwin monitored the pulse network from the planet's surface. "They're synchronizing," she said. "The structures, the scouts, the flagship, they're linking energy patterns. If they strike together, it could devastate us. But if we anticipate an encounter, we might survive." Hale nodded grimly. "Then we anticipate. Every maneuver, every decision must be perfect. Humanity's first true battle begins now." The alien scouts emerged from the darkness, faster and more numerous than humans expected. They encircled the fleet, probing, testing, and striking intermittently. Energy beams flared across space, small skirmishes erupting as humans adapted in real time. It was clear the Watchers were no longer testing. They were initiating the first confrontation. Hale coordinated the fleet with precise commands. "Fighters, intercept and distract. Shield generators, reinforce every perimeter. Keep formation tight. We survive by unity, not brute force." The flagship moved closer, bending light as it approached, its energy pulsing with menace. It fired a wave of energy across the fleet, not lethal, but enough to disable key systems temporarily. Several ships shuddered, alarms blaring, and the fleet teetered on the edge of chaos. Dr. Corwin's voice cut through the bridge comms. "Captain, the pulse network on the planet. It's reacting to the flagship. If we can synchronize our countermeasures with it, we can absorb some of their energy and turn it against them." Hale acted instantly. "Do it. Every ship, every system, every crew member. Coordinate with the pulse network. We will use their strength against them." Engineers worked furiously, recalibrating shields to harmonize with the alien lattice network. Fighters adjusted positions, weaving through the incoming beams, creating gaps for larger ships to maneuver. Humanity's fleet moved as one, precise and disciplined, a living organism of courage and strategy. The first countermeasure succeeded. A beam fired by the flagship struck a human battleship, but was absorbed partially by the pulse network on the planet. Energy flowed back toward the alien vessel, causing it to momentarily shimmer and hesitate. The scouts reacted, repositioning as if confused. Humanity had learned, adapted, and struck without violence, an intelligent maneuver that the Watchers did not anticipate. Yet the battle was far from over. Additional alien ships warped into the system, larger and more aggressive. They struck with coordinated pulses, targeting weak points in shields and testing human limits. Pilots fought desperately, but the fleet held together, using strategy over brute force. Hale realized something vital. They're learning from us, just as we're learning from them. Every action must anticipate their reaction. Think ahead, predict, adapt, and survive. On the planet, Dr. Corwin decoded more of the pulse. They respond to intent, not just action, she said. We must show intelligence, not aggression. If we act without thought, we fail. But if we think we can survive, maybe even gain their respect. The humans executed daring maneuvers. Fighters created decoys using synchronized energy pulses, drawing scouts into harmless areas. Larger ships moved strategically, shielding weaker vessels while coordinating with the planet's lattice network. Every action communicated restraint, intelligence, and unity. The alien flagship pulsed repeatedly, a warning or perhaps a test. Then, unexpectedly, it paused. Scouts froze in orbit, no longer probing aggressively. The humans had passed a crucial point, surviving not by weapons alone, but by coordination, intelligence, and restraint. Hale allowed himself a brief sigh. We've made it through the first wave, but this isn't victory. The Watchers have only begun to measure our potential. The true test is still coming. Even as the fleet stabilized, scouts move at the edge of detection, ever watchful. The pulse network on the planet continued to hum with energy, responding subtly to human tactics. Humanity had survived the first confrontation, but the Watchers were patient, eternal, and calculating. Dr. Corwin addressed the fleet through comms. We have learned their language, their patterns, and their priorities. The next engagement will be more complex. We must continue to anticipate, adapt, and act with unity. Humanity has proven it can survive, but survival alone is not enough. We must understand and respond intelligently, or risk annihilation. Hale looked at the stars and whispered, "The first battle is over, but the war is only beginning. Every decision, every choice, every action, it matters now more than ever. Humanity has stepped onto the galactic stage, and the Watchers are watching." The alien fleet receded for a moment, disappearing into the void beyond detection. But their presence lingered in every sensor and signal. Humanity had endured, but the pulse, the structures, and the scouts remained alive, intelligent, and ready. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. The first battle had tested humanity's courage, intelligence, and unity, but the true war, the one that would determine their place in the galaxy, was only just beginning. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, the Watchers prepared for the next move, patient and calculating, waiting to see if humanity could truly rise to the challenge. The fleet drifted in orbit around a barren planet, the pulse network still humming beneath them like a living heartbeat. Humanity had survived the first wave, proving intelligence, restraint, and unity, but Captain Rhea and Hale knew the Watchers were far from finished. The first battle had been a test. The next would define their place in the galaxy. On the bridge of the Artemis, Hale reviewed the fleet status. Ships had sustained minor damage, but no lives were lost. Shields were repaired, engines recalibrated, and crews were alert, their resolve hardened by the recent confrontation. Lieutenant Mara Chen tapped the sensor console. "Captain, the alien scouts are regrouping. They're faster now, more coordinated. And there's something else, signals from an unknown source, beyond human space. I can't identify them, but they're unlike the scouts or the flagship." Hale narrowed his eyes. "Unknown allies or enemies. We need to find out who they are before they act. Humanity cannot fight blind." Dr. Lena Corwin analyzed the new signals. "Captain, these are not hostile. At least, not yet. Their energy signatures suggest intelligence and technology comparable to the Watchers, but they're not moving aggressively. It's possible they could become allies." Hale leaned back in his chair. "Allies. That could change everything. If other species have survived the Watchers, they might teach us how to survive, or even fight back." A small, sleek vessel emerged in the darkness, approaching the fleet with deliberate caution. Its design was unlike any human ship. Organic curves, energy shimmering along its hull, and a glow that suggested advanced technology. The alien vessel sent a signal, a direct communication, unlike the Watcher's cryptic pulse. The message appeared in clear translation. "Humans, we have observed your struggle. We are called the Illyrians. You have survived the first trial. We offer guidance, if you're willing to listen." Hale's heart raced. An ally, but trust had to be measured. "Open a channel," he ordered. Let's hear what they have to say, but maintain defenses. One mistake could be fatal. The Illyrian voice came through, melodic yet commanding. The Watchers are ancient, intelligent, and patient. They do not attack recklessly. They observe, calculate, and test every species that rises to the stars. Many have failed. Few have survived our scrutiny. You have survived the first test. But greater trials await. Alliances, strategy, and unity will determine your survival. Dr. Corwin's eyes lit up. They understand the Watchers. They might be able to teach us how to survive the next wave, and maybe even communicate with the structures more effectively. Hale nodded. Then we listen. Humanity must learn if we hope to survive. Prepare a delegation to meet the Illyrians, and alert the fleet. We are no longer alone in this fight. The Illyrians explained that the Watchers had tested countless civilizations across the galaxy. Those who failed were destroyed, or worse, absorbed into the Pulse network, their knowledge lost eternity. Few species had ever endured as long as humans had. They observe your decisions, your restraint, your intelligence, the Illyrian speaker continued. But the next trial will not test your mind alone. It will test your courage, your alliances, and your capacity for leadership. The Watchers will escalate. You must prepare. Hale made a critical decision. We need to coordinate humanity's colonies, fleets, and resources. We must demonstrate intelligence, unity, and readiness, not just to the Watchers, but to the galaxy itself. Lieutenant Chen interjected. Captain, the scouts are moving again, but this time they're not attacking. They're forming patterns, almost like a message. Could the Illyrians interpret them? Dr. Corwin nodded. Yes, they're attempting communication. The Watchers respond to logic and intent. They may be testing how quickly we can coordinate and understand signals. If we succeed, it strengthens our position. If we fail, it could be disastrous. Hale ordered immediate coordination with the Illyrians. Human and Illyrian fleets moved together, analyzing scout patterns, interpreting signals, and responding with precise maneuvers. Every move communicated intelligence and restraint, demonstrating humanity's potential. As the hours passed, the Watchers observed silently. The pulse network across the planet responded subtly to every human action, adjusting energy flows, scanning formations, and testing coordination. Every human movement was noted, every choice measured. Then, unexpectedly, a new wave of alien scouts emerged from the edge of the system, larger, faster, and more aggressive than before. The Illyrians moved to intercept, creating a protective barrier around the human fleet. For the first time, humans witnessed true cooperation with another intelligent species against the Watchers' forces. Hale felt a surge of hope. Humanity is not alone. We can survive this. We can learn. We can rise. Dr. Cohen worked furiously, decoding new pulses. They're responding to our coordinated actions. The Watchers are testing how effectively we can adapt under pressure, with allies, and while under threat. If we continue to act intelligently, we may gain their recognition, or at least prolong our survival. As the fleets maneuvered, the Illyrians revealed a crucial insight. The structures are not merely defensive. They are nodes of an ancient network. If we can interface correctly, we can influence energy flows, mitigate attacks, and even predict movements of Watchers' vessels. But it requires precision, unity, and timing. Hale realized the enormity of the task. Then we prepare. Every ship, every crew, every mind must act in concert. Humanity's survival depends on our ability to think, adapt, and trust in each other and in our allies. The Watchers' pulse intensified across the system, signaling the next trial was imminent. Every ship felt the vibrations. Every crew member sensed the weight of the galaxy pressing down. Humanity had survived the first battle and gained its first ally. But the real war, the one that would define the fate of human civilization, was about to begin. Captain Hale looked at the stars, the pulse, and the Illyrian fleet. The Watchers are patient, but not infinite. Humanity's choices will decide the next chapter. We must rise. We must endure. And we must prove that we belong among the stars. The pulse network on the planet flared, brighter and stronger than ever, as if acknowledging the presence of allies. Somewhere in the void, the Watchers calculated, waiting to see if humanity, with its newfound allies, could survive the trials to come. The stars themselves seemed to hum with anticipation. Humanity had survived the first strike, the first battle, and now stood at the brink of its greatest test. The next choice would determine not just survival, but whether humans would rise to become a true galactic power, or vanish quietly into the pulse of the Watchers. The stars above the barren planet shimmered unnaturally, as if the galaxy itself were holding its breath. Humanity had survived the first battles and formed its first alliance with the Illyrians, but Captain Rhea and Hale knew the Watchers were far from finished. The pulse network on the planet throbbed with energy, and every human ship sensed its presence. On board the Artemis, Hale addressed his fleet. "We have allies, yes, but we are still being tested. Every move, every decision, every action is observed. The Watchers are patient, intelligent, and merciless. We must act with precision, unity, and courage. Today is a true test." Lieutenant Marachin monitored incoming signals. "Captain, scouts are converging in patterns more aggressive than ever, and the flagship has returned. Its energy signature is massive. It's coordinating all of them. This isn't observation anymore. They're preparing for conflict." Dr. Lena Corwin analyzed the pulse from the planet. "They're not just testing response time now. They're testing strategy, coordination, and adaptability under stress. They want to see if humanity and the Illyrians can survive a full-scale engagement, and if we fail, the consequences will be catastrophic." Hale's eyes narrowed. "Then we show them humanity's true strength. We fight smart, not just hard. Every ship, every fighter, every crew member, act as one." As the alien fleet advanced, the Illyrians moved to form a protective perimeter around human ships. Their energy fields shimmered, bending space slightly and providing cover against incoming pulses from the Watcher scouts. It was humanity's first experience of true interspecies cooperation in battle. The flagship fired a warning pulse, a massive wave of energy that rattled shields across the fleet. Several human ships faltered, systems briefly offline, but Illyrian technology absorbed and redirected part of the energy, minimizing damage. Humanity had survived the first real strike, but they knew this was only the beginning. Hale gave precise commands. "Fighters, intercept scouts and create diversion patterns. Battleships, maintain formation and reinforce shields. Engineers, synchronize with the pulse network on the planet. We will use their own energy against them if we can coordinate perfectly." The battle erupted. Energy beams flared across the void. Ships maneuvered in complex patterns, and the alien scouts adjusted constantly, probing for weaknesses. The Watcher's flagship moved with terrifying speed, testing human patience and coordination at every turn. On the planet, Dr. Corwin coordinated the pulse network, feeding real-time adjustments to the fleet. Energy flowed through the lattice structures in response to human maneuvers, reinforcing shields and creating opportunities for counterattacks. Humanity was fighting not just with weapons, but with intelligence, adaptation, and timing. The Illyrians guided humans through synchronized movements. Fighters weaved through beams of precision. Battleships adjusted shields in tandem with the planet's pulse network, and human crews learned to predict alien patterns faster than ever. Every action communicated intelligence, restraint, and unity. Suddenly, the flagship unleashed a massive energy surge toward the fleet. The Illyrians formed a protective barrier, absorbing part of the blast, while humans executed a synchronized maneuver through the pulse network. Energy bounced off shields, redirected to the planet's structures, and struck the flagship itself. The vessel shimmered violently, staggering the alien fleet for the first time. Captain Hale allowed himself a grim smile. "They've underestimated us. Humanity adapts. Humanity survives." But there was no time to celebrate. More scouts warped in from beyond the system, faster and more numerous. They attacked in waves, testing every maneuver humans had perfected. Pilots, engineers, and scientists worked in unison, every second a life or death calculation. Dr. Corwin decoded part of the pulse during the engagement. They're responding to our adaptability. The Watchers are escalating. They're testing limits, both of survival and of strategy. If we falter, even briefly, it could be catastrophic. Lieutenant Chun reported a critical situation. "Captain, the flagship is preparing a combined pulse, a massive strike targeting the entire fleet and the planet's lattice network. If it hits fully, it could cripple everything. Hale acted without hesitation. Everyone, synchronize with the planet. Channel energy through shields. Coordinate with Illyrians. We survive as one or we fall alone. The fleet executed the maneuver perfectly. Energy pulses flowed from the planet into the shields, bouncing and diffusing the massive attack. Some damage occurred, but no ships were destroyed. Humanity and Illyrians had endured the full force of the flagship's assault for the first time. The Watchers paused. Their scouts froze in orbit and the flagship pulsed slowly, analyzing the humans' response. The pulse network on the planet shimmered in acknowledgement. Humanity had survived the first full-scale trial. Captain Hale addressed the fleet. Today, we prove something important. Humanity does not retreat. Humanity adapts, learns, and survives. But remember, we have only passed the first stage. The Watchers are patient, intelligent, and calculating. Our true challenge lies ahead. The Illyrians transmitted their message to the humans. You have endured the first great test. The Watchers will escalate further, testing courage, intelligence, and alliances. Many civilizations have fallen. Few have survived even this far. But you have shown resilience, strategy, and unity. Prepare for the trials to come. Hale looked at the stars, the pulse, and the alien fleets beyond. The first battle is over. Humanity has survived, and we have allies. But the galaxy is vast. The Watchers are patient. The next confrontation will be more complex, more dangerous, and it will determine if humanity can truly rise among the stars. The pulse network on the planet flared brighter than ever, resonating across the system. The Watchers' intelligence was unmistakable. They were calculating, learning, and preparing for the next trial. Humanity had survived the first strike, the first engagement, and the first full-scale battle. But the real war, the one that would shape the fate of humans and the Watchers alike, was only just beginning. The stars themselves seemed to tremble. Humanity stood at the edge of an era where every decision mattered. The pulse network throbbed like a heartbeat across the galaxy. And somewhere in the darkness beyond the system, the Watchers waited, eternal, intelligent, and patient, for the next move. Humanity had survived, but survival alone would not be enough. The next choice, the next action, the next strategy would define the future of an entire species.